Okay, I think we are live. Just checking here the sound. 1 second. Let me see the sound. So today you're gonna be drawing Albert Camus. I chose him because the past two drawings, it was based on female figures. So I said, okay, let's go for a male figure. And also because I'm reading now The Plague from Albert Camus, his work from 1947. And I think it's really appropriate for our time. So why not, right? To draw Albert Camus. And his the portrait, the reference I chose, I don't know, I like his expression. It's, and even adding the hands, I might add the hands to the drawing as well. And I don't know, I think this expression shows really well how I see his thoughts about the absurdism, of life. And it's like, what you gonna do, with our life? We do what we have to do. And I think that's one of the lessons on the book. This time, differently from the previous two drawings, I wrote a few thoughts about the book or about how I'm feeling about Albert Camus' work, and maybe that's what I'm going to be sharing with y'all today. And also, based on the technical aspect about the drawing, I'm going to do something a little bit improvised today. I wanted to try the linen. Last time I did it, with linen I used lots of gesso. This time I'm just using the primed linen I had here with me. And there's a lot of texture, more texture than I'm used to, because I like very smooth surface. But I think it's gonna work. And if it's not gonna work, it is what it is. You're gonna learn something out of this experience as well. So if if the sound is working, please, and if you are listening to me, say something, because I'm gonna check here. 1 second. Pode checar o volume pra mim? Eu mandei o link pra você. Okay, 1 second. Okay. If you go to the description of this video, you have the link to this image that I'm gonna use as a reference, so you can go along, you can open very large on your computer, you can print it out and use as a reference. I'm still waiting here to check the sound, because maybe I've been talking a lot and nobody's listening. 1 second. Okay, perfect, it's working. Okay. So, Albert Camus, this guy, he received Nobel Prize of Literature. I don't remember the year. I think his main work is The Stranger, but also The Plague is a good one. But let's see here. I had more notes online on my computer. Yeah, his most important work was The Stranger, 1942, and The Plague, 1947. That's what I'm reading now. But also, like, I also read The Myth of Sisyphus and one small collection and essays. Recently, I read one about um, Create Courageously. I forgot the title now. Really cool as well. So Google him, look it up. You're gonna find very interesting insights to go through the time we are living now. That being said, I chose one of his quotes. In the midst of winter, I found there was within me an invincible summer, or invincible summer. Um, and I truly believe that because life, it's full of suffering, right? I think our generation, it's being used to a lot of comfort. We've been living for decades without facing a very strong problem or crisis, and especially in Western, I know that now we're having problems with migration. You have countries that are in war and they are being doing that, and you have lots of countries that they face disease and hunger. um, but I think now here in Western, we've been pretty um, good with a very comfortable life, and now we are facing this crisis, and that it's a chance for us to really rethink what's really important, what matters in life, and how we all are connected, because it's so unprecedented in our history that now we face a crisis in the whole planet. There's nowhere to go and hide. It's not like the movie Elysium. We cannot go, um, to another place, because everywhere this virus doesn't respect boundaries and frontiers. And wow, we are all in that together. So I've been writing some stuff like about the book The Plague. So there are certain things essential and common to all human beings that defines us all as equals before nature. So now nature is reclaiming our identity, or it's showing us in the hardest way how we are all equal, because suffering unifies us. The suffering is going to be the same no matter our status, or no matter where we are in these little boxes that are created by our imagination, because everything that all the institutions and concepts, ideas that we are stuck in now, be it a classification in society, like if you are middle class, if you are poor, if you are higher class, those are all concepts that are created based on our imagination. Of course, it doesn't mean they don't exist or if they don't matter, but it didn't come really from nature. Our classification that we created, and the virus is reminding us that we are beyond that, what we really are. Our worth goes beyond that, and that we are not that different. So, and then that goes the next paragraph I wrote. Just because we create all those systems in life, I mean, everything comes from our imagination, right? Like laws, institution, concept of money, and so on. But just because it's the product of our common and shared dreams and ideas, it does not mean they don't exist or that they don't matter, right? But we have to remember why we created everything, yeah? All those concepts. And I think this book, The Plague, and also the situation we are living now, makes us reflect, or should make us reflect on those concepts. And I was discussing with my husband. I remember one time, he really likes to quote Churchill, and he said something about we have to do what's necessary. I'm paraphrasing here, but I think Churchill said something like, we have to do what's necessary, not doing our best because that's not enough. And I found that Camus, he goes into the same direction, saying that we, in this book, In the Plague, it's clear that the doctor in the story, he says that we do what we have to do, right? And I think now we all have to find our position in society, or we have to find out really what we have to do to continue being a human being, or we have to choose our actions very carefully and think about that now our individuality cannot be fulfilled if first we don't fulfill the needs of our community, because if our community is not there anymore, or at least if it's not functional, it doesn't matter for us to have our own desires and wishes, because it's not going to be fulfilled, because the community, the way we know it, will not be there anymore. So I was writing, our individual fulfillment cannot happen without our action towards the fulfillment of the community needs. And it's so true now in a planetary scale, because really, before, when we had maybe a plague, like bubonic plague, that's what we have this in the story of the plague with Albert Camus. It was something in a very specific region, in a city or country, whatever. Like if you think about Ebola, or if you think about dengue or Zika, right? That, wow, had a huge impact in Brazil. Other countries, they are not really caring about that, or not so worried about that, because it's not impacting them directly. So first we start denying that, and then we accept a little bit, but the reality is only gonna sink in when that's affecting our relatives or people very close to us. And maybe that's what we see now, and we see in the whole planet. Oh wow, it's a big thing, and people are still denying that, but the next stages are gonna come. So when you see China, and you see now Italy or Spain and England, I'm in US now, I have the feeling that they are in the future. So just look at them, and we have to prepare ourselves, because we cannot deny now and say, oh, I didn't know, because they are telling us the future is there. And if you read The Plague, it's a story that also it's coming from the future, although it was written in the past. I think y'all should take a look and read it. Okay. So enough said. I will go to what really matters now. That's drawing. So this series that I'm doing with this live session, it's more like a therapeutic session for me. I need to be drawing those stuff, and that's the way I found to do what I have to do. And I hope we can connect as humans, and I am a human that can draw, and maybe I can pass on and share some tips and insights that you, on the other side, the other human, if you also like to draw, you can connect with me and do your thing, right? So let's do it. Oh, yeah. My coffee, I'm getting tired of talking too much, man. Okay, so I'm using linen. There's a lot of texture. Usually I prefer something smoother, but let's see how it's gonna work. I'm gonna open my reference image here. 1 second, sorry. Should have opened that before. Let's see. Remember, leave a comment if you have a comment. Okay. Opening here the image. Okay. All right, Albert Camus, it's your turn. Let me change here the... Oh, okay, now much better. You can see the drawing a little bit larger. Okay. I'm really into drawing his face and the hands. I might not add much information about the clothes and yeah. Let me see. So, again, like in the other videos, I'm gonna use Nitram charcoal. I like the soft. I'm gonna use compressed charcoal. That's usually my favorite. That's Richardson. I'm gonna use HB and 6B general pencils. And this one here, that's Mary's. I'm gonna add a link later on, okay? On the video. Let's see if I can show the brand. Yeah, best. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. This one, that's really good. I feel that it's really softer than the general 6B, and it can go a little bit darker. I really like this pencil. And the few tools to drag around the powder and to erase. So I use an X-Acto knife, eraser. I like to use different sizes. I have those two little ones. And I have some sponges, different shapes. And I think pretty much that's it, what I'm gonna use. And my fingers. So I use the gloves because I don't like to have my fingers dirty, and I also don't like to drag the grease from my hands to the surface. Okay, I like to use lots of panels, wooden panels with gesso on top, but today I'm gonna play with linen. I had done that before, but with gesso on top. Here is a pre-primed, I think for oil, linen. Let's see how that's gonna work. Okay. Let's start with my Nitram. Very loose, you know. It's more like a therapeutic session, so I'm not gonna be actually measuring much. I feel the texture already, but we are all gonna survive this. And I just keep squinting my eyes. I try to see. Actually, first, let me tone the paper a little bit. The paper, no, the canvas in this case. So the white is not gonna be that white. And so usually on gesso, I know how the erasing and scraping the surface is gonna work. Here I'm not so sure. But hanging there with me, you're gonna find out some new interesting things here, and you're gonna see how I deal with these challenges of new surface, because all the time I'm trying new material, new stuff, and to push my control over the media. And I think that's the fun part, you know, to be all the time what the media is capable of doing, you know, what the piece of charcoal is capable of doing on the surface, and keep changing the surface and trying all sorts of things. Because you can go to academia and learn fundamentals. I think it's super important. But after that, you are on your own, you know. And there are no really rules that shouldn't be revised, improved. You always can take a look and change things in all sorts of areas in our life. It doesn't need to be just about drawing. But we go very slowly, respectfully, and carefully. We go advancing and trying new things. And if it doesn't work, we retreat. We go back to the basics. But if it does work, so rejoice. Okay. I'm gonna start more with this. I'm gonna I'm thinking about more like a triangle, and his head's gonna be starting really right on the top, something like that here. Maybe his eyes are gonna be kind of this height. You know, and then my approach is very loose. I'm not gonna, because here I'm just having some fun. So I could be using there are many kinds of technique, guys. Could be measuring things. I'm just gonna be looking and placing in a very loose way, okay? It's more like a sculpture. Looking and moving things around. So far I can feel that by having all that texture, it's gonna be a little bit harder for me to control the surface. Let's go for it. Let's embrace this challenge. I'm just marking here some important information to anchor the drawing for me. You can always look on my channel. I have other videos so far. I have Annie Frank and Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo took me a little bit longer. We have two parts, part 1 and part 2. The next one, I'm really not sure yet, that I'm gonna stream. Probably it's gonna be on Monday. This weekend I might not do it. And I'm planning on drawing a character from a Comanche tale that we read to our kids this past weekend. That tells the story about the blue bonnets. It's a beautiful tale. So most likely my daughter is gonna be the model. I'm not sure if she's gonna be posing here live because it's gonna take too long for her. She's gonna be tired. But I'm gonna take the reference pictures. And then I can even share with y'all how is my process of thinking about the setup, how I think about dressing up the model and telling a story. I really like the storytelling behind a drawing. Yeah. So lessons learned so far, it's that I kind of don't like the surface with the texture like this. So next for the next one on Monday, I'm gonna prepare a surface with lots of gesso again, maybe five to 8 layers. Maybe I'm gonna continue using the canvas. It's gonna be easy to roll later and store. And usually when I try new materials, I don't really like to make scribbles here and there and then throw that away. No. I like to create something that's gonna be well-rounded and well finished, and there's a purpose on that. I might not totally like the result, but I go and I fight to the end, making a final piece, that I can hang and sort of be proud of it. But it's very rare the situations when I'm gonna just abandon that. No, I think we can, and anything is possible. So I'm gonna fight to the very end of this, even if I like to enjoy and have fun with the process, right? I think that's the main goal. Why I draw? Because what else am I gonna do? That's what I do. So, and I try to make it fun. I really try to enjoy it. And when I feel I'm suffering with something because I either don't like the media or, I don't know, maybe the subject, I try to reframe that in my mind and find a purpose for that. And then I fight to the very end. And then, for example, now I can reframe that in my goal to stud better. How? I don't know. I'm gonna make the hands, because hands, they are always a huge challenge. So I can focus on that and forget a little bit about the texture that usually I like to play with. Or can even now during this process think about, okay, how I'm gonna control the texture the way I like having this canvas, Maybe later on I can find out, wow, that's what I was looking for since the beginning. You never know. Or I can try now to see the behavior of different tools on the surface. Wow. I just grabbed a piece of compressed charcoal to see how that's going to behave on the surface. Usually, I said that before in another video, when you apply a compressed charcoal on top of a willow or vine or this mix that's Onitrans charcoal, what happens is that the compressed is gonna kind of drag around, or is gonna remove from the surface the softer powder, right? I like to apply the compressed later and use the vine or willow beef at the beginning, because they are softer, so they're easier to erase. So when I'm applying the main shapes, and I'm not sure yet if I want to keep that way, I just start placing the compressed later on. But now I'm trying to find out how the compressed charcoal behaves on the surface, so that's why I'm applying now. Not sure if it erases well. I like it. Okay, so that's gonna work. And then later on, My challenge is gonna be to find out how the compressed is gonna behave with the fixative and varnish, because on the gesso I can fix and varnish the final work. I'm not sure here, and you're gonna find out. Okay, I'm spending too much time there. Let's move on to another area. Lots of powder. What I'm noticing here is that it doesn't hold as much powder as the gessoed surface. So again, I keep thinking this is kind of a sculpture. So I go back and forth, and then when I see an information that I can add to anchor the drawing, I just go and mark it, and then later on I can always come back and move it around if it's not really in the correct position. So I like to really be free in that sense, because there are many approaches to a drawing. You could be just really measuring and marking everything, and then you come with the shapes. I like to do everything at the same time, because again, I really am looking into this process as something to have fun. And if I really need to be measuring everything, it's gonna be very tedious. So I find joy in really approaching the drawing as a sculpture with a very free spirit, you know. Again, it doesn't mean it's right or wrong the way you're approaching. If you like to measure, just measure, you know, if you are having fun with that. And if the result works, why not? Yeah, I feel it. I placed a little bit too close, right? So let's just adjust. Let's see how the pencil is gonna work on the surface. Yeah, not that great. Again, usually I use gesso, and here now it's just a primed linen, pre-primed linen. I didn't have time today to prepare the surface, and actually I really wanted to see how that would work on linen with some texture, but yeah, not my thing. You're learning here a lot. So again, I keep looking at the reference picture and looking back to my drawing, reference picture, my drawing, and try to make the adjustments. I think the goal is to keep looking back and forth and try to see everything at the same time. And then start adding the information we see. And I mean information is like the white spots, the dark spots, the mid-tones. You start just adding and building your drawing. Don't think about like, oh, I'm drawing a nose, I'm drawing an eye. No. Think about shade, light, lines. And how everything's related to each other, you know, the placement. Oh, okay, it's more to the right, more to the left. I really like to be drawing from life, But now with the quarantine, you have to stay at home, right? So the goal should be training, should be practicing, and sharing with y'all everything that I can. But I think I'm not gonna be able to use that much that I like as my X-Acto knife. Usually on the, yeah, might end up making a hole on the canvas and we don't want that, right? So let's see what else I can use. To bring the white. Here. Yeah. Oh, my camera. What happened to my camera? I think it stopped streaming, right? Sorry guys, let's see what I can do here about that. I'm charging. Something happened to my camera. Let's see if it comes back. That's it, I'm back. That's weird. I'll be more careful here to see if that's gonna happen again. Okay. Let's continue with Camus. Where's my book? Okay. It's too white here. Super light. Doesn't need to be that much. Let's anchor again here something. Let's add another important information. That's gonna be one second. Just finish one thing on the nose. Then okay, something here on the eye, the white spot. That's gonna help me to um, draw other things in relation to it. Maybe I should move it here so I can see a little better. Okay. I think maybe I have to place maybe a little bit higher his eyebrows and make it a little bit longer. Yeah. We don't worry about all those details on his forehead now. Later we can just define a few lines. Don't need to draw all the wrinkles. 1 second here. maybe I need to just lower this eye here a little bit, not that much. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling I have to make his chin a little bit longer. You see, that's why I like this approach, because I can go, of course, could be a little bit slower than if I'm marking and measuring everything since the beginning. But I feel that charcoal is a very forgiving medium. So you still have a chance to come and fix that. And sometimes, coming back to the start of the plague and also what we are living now, it really has to bring change, consistent change in our way of lives, because I doubt that's gonna be the last pandemic that we are facing, and because now everything's so connected, and it's reminding us that we all are so similar before nature, right? Maybe we should start living with that in mind, considering that, and the way we treat others on a daily basis, I feel that somehow nature is urging us to do it. Because think about that. We all were here before as a ball of fire, right? And then nature was evolving and changing. Then you had some simple organisms and everything, and that was evolving. Now we are here. And we think we know stuff, but we know nothing. Think about it. The way nature works, the way it keeps its balance. Maybe now we should start thinking about that better. You're gonna die, but everything else is gonna be here, as always. So better us find our place in this planetary orchestra and start playing our. I think I made his forehead too big. And it's better we start doing our part properly, right? Or you're not gonna be in the show anymore. So I was talking about that with my kids recently during our family studies, that we studied different mythologies from different cultures. And I said that in another video, I love the story in Egyptian mythology that in the end of our lives, our heart is gonna be weighted against a ostrich feather, and this ostrich feather represents the balance of universe. And if we are heavier than the ostrich feather, it means that we impacted in this balance of life. So we are gonna be eaten by a monster. Our heart is gonna be eaten by the monster. But if we are lighter than the feather, it means that we did not create chaos. So we have this chance to go to the afterlife and be living there in the, in the other world. I think it's a very beautiful concept, If somehow we partake in this beautiful orchestra and we find our way to not create chaos, but instead to add good to the world. When we are gone, whatever we added that's positive is gonna stay. So in a sense, it's a way for us to be alive for eternity, because whatever we do now is gonna impact something that's gonna come after us. And maybe nature is gonna keep that rolling, and it's a way for us to be carried on in history. So should start thinking about that more. But usually we don't have time for that, right? Because life's so busy, and then we miss the point. So let's use this time at home maybe to do it. I think a good advantage of to be an artist is that, especially visual artists, is that we are on our own in solitude so often that you keep thinking about those stuff all the time. Yeah, we are approaching 1 hour. Okay, we completed 1 hour, I think, with the video. But as I was talking at the beginning, I think we are about 40 minutes drawing. I'm gonna be doing that for more 20-30 minutes, then we stop. If I'm not gonna finish today because I have to add the hands. Then we add the hands maybe Monday, or I can record during the weekend when I have some time, and then I upload that later. That's another option. Because on Monday I was planning on doing the Comanche myth about the blue bonnet. So I might record the hands. Kind of I'm enjoying. His head is really popping now, finally. From the background. I just need some adjustments on the eye. Yeah, I think about 20 minutes we finish because I can hear my folks here getting ready for dinner. And I'm gonna join them because today I got delayed to start the video. So Albert Camus, I hope you Google him and find more about his work, especially The Plague, very appropriate for the moment. It's a difficult book, I would say. There's lots of details, lots of stories and going on, but it's exactly what's going on now. We have to think about each story of each family that they are suffering, because when we go to big numbers, we miss the point. We miss that because each life, we can't be comparing the value of life. Life is life, right? So every detail counts and every life counts. Each one of them, right? And we are having large numbers of death, and sometimes that makes us forget about the value of life. We cannot be comparing. It's all life. Maybe some of us lived more than others. Maybe some of us, we have the potential of living longer than others, but it doesn't mean that one life is more valuable than another, you know? I think the whole point of this plague is to really connect us, reminding us of our humanity and how equal we all are. So we are gonna really be missing this lesson from nature if we start comparing the worthlessness of people. Let's not miss that chance, right? And again, looking back in history, we see patterns. So it's not the end of the world, but we can use some patterns to help us understand what are the possible scenarios. And classics also help us with that. Another lessons learned here, instead of using the gessoed surface, going straight to the pre-primed linen, is that I can't use my X-Acto knife for fine details, fine lines, and I miss that a lot. So instead, what's working is this eraser with a motor eraser, but it doesn't really gives me the same control that I need. So let's try the sandable eraser here. I need to sharpen it. Let's see what's gonna happen. Yeah. I don't have high expectations on that. Not quite that. Yeah, I think this weekend I'm gonna reserve a couple of hours to prepare a bunch of canvas with gesso for my future live sessions. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing that. And because that's gonna be easier than the board, so I can just roll it. And storage is gonna be easier. Going to the final 10 minutes, I think, now. Just a few details on his face. And then I'm gonna work on the hands later on. So if you are learning something from that, if you're really enjoying, leave your comment, follow my channel, and just send your love. I think his smile is like so sarcastic sometimes. I think think he's like a very funny guy. Especially because he understood life as like not truly having a meaning, and if you keep searching the meaning, you really don't leave. I think. I hope I understood him well. I think it's that. So I think he was not wasting his time. That's why I think he might um, have been a good friend, you know, a good person to be around, really enjoying the present and the moment that he was. I have this feeling. And I hope that after everything we are going through now, maybe we start, all of us, humanity, you know, sorry, enjoying really our present and making the best of it. So now I'm really having fun here, enjoying my present with all of you. So, and woo, poor guy added a lot, a big wrinkle him. Although he has a lot doing this. Drag this powder here around. So making a line here to define his nose, perfect, and a few lights on his lips. Mm-hmm. I really don't want to draw all the wrinkles, I just want to suggest them. Because even if I add a lot of information here, we're gonna be looking at it more than to the eye, you know. That's where I wanna draw attention to. So I'm just gonna draw a few lines. Yeah, I'm not gonna add much more. there for today, and then I'm gonna record later doing the hands and upload to the website. I might add a few more details here and there. Nice face. And then I have to think about the background, what I'm gonna do, but the main shape I'm gonna define on the background, and that's gonna depend on the way I'm gonna add his hands. And usually I like to make a very strong background that gives a high contrast. So maybe the hands are gonna be somewhere. I'm gonna add his hands a little bit closer to his face than we have in the original reference. Somewhere here, you know? And maybe that will define my background. I might do something like, oops, fell the charcoal. Let's do some. Maybe I'm gonna do something like this. Here would be the thumb, right? Maybe do something like this, and here would be the other thumb. Yeah, you can do something like that. And then the hands. Would be defined here. Maybe we can make an angle in diagonal on the top, like we have in somehow in his background, and then we balance with the bottom doing the opposite. Something like that. Look at the height here. Yeah. So I'm gonna continue that later, and let me show what we have so far. Closer to the camera. You see his face, right? I have some texture from the surface, although, as I said, I prefer a smoother surface with gesso. But okay, I'm gonna continue here. So later I'm gonna work on the hands, and I'm gonna upload to y'all. Okay, thank you again for hanging in there with me, and I totally recommend The Plague. Let me show here again one of my favorite covers. Yeah, with the Plague Doctor mask. So you can find that online, of course, and even an audio, and get and enjoy your quarantine. Okay, so bye. I'm gonna be recording live again on Monday, 5 p.m. Central Time. Thank you guys for sharing this moment, this intimate moment with me, and I'm gonna be doing that in the long term. Okay, bye.